Good morning, class 11th. So, how are you all? I really hope you are doing well and you're ready for your snapshot today because we are going to do both, written by A J Cronin. In the previous video class, in the video lecture, we have discussed the intro part of this story as well as we have discussed about the author A J Cronin. So let's discuss, or I would say better, let's read the first portion of the story here. We are on page 65. As you know, we always do bit by bit. So this time also we are going to start. So in pieces only we are going to cover up the reading of the chapter. Yeah. So I'm reading it. Just listen to it and try to grasp the things. In this excerpt from the Citadel, Andrew Manson, newly out of medical school, has just begun his medical practice as an assistant to Dr. Edward Page in the small Welsh mining town of Blenheim. So it's about Dr. This is basically one part taken from the Citadel play here. And Dr. Andrew, he just came out from the medical school and he was assisting Dr. Edward Page in the Blenheim area in the mining town, as he's returning from a disappointing evening with Christine. So Dr. Andrew Manson, as we discussed earlier also, he had a very heartbreaking evening with his girlfriend Christine, the girl he loves. He is met by Joe Morgan. So as Dr. Andrew Manson was coming back to his home, there's a bad and heartbreaking evening, he met Joe Morgan. Joe and his wife, who have been married nearly 20 years, as expecting their first child. So as I mentioned you earlier also, that as these are the characters here, Dr. Andrew Manson, Joe Morgan, Suzanne Morgan, Mrs. Morgan's mother and midwife, this couple was expecting their first child after the marriage of their 20 years. Right? So let's see. Now the story starts. Though it was nearly midnight, so it was a midnight time period, when Andrew reached Brinjover, he found Joe Morgan waiting for him, walking up and down with short steps between the closed surgery and the entrance to the house. At the sight of him, the burly driller's face expressed relief. So he said that when Dr. Andrew Manson reached at home at Brinjover, basically, he noticed that Joe Morgan was there and he was walking up and down with the steps. Means he was waiting for Dr. Andrew, and as you know, when you wait for someone in a stress period especially, you just walk from here and there to and fro, you just walk. And yes, he was walking between the closed surgery and the entrance gate. So closed surgery is the narrow passage there. "Oh, doctor, I'm glad to see you. I've been back and forward here this last hour. The missus wants you before time too." So as soon Joe Morgan saw doctor, he was relaxed. As it's mentioned, he had the relief expression. He said to doctor, "I'm glad to see you." And then he mentioned, "From the last 1 hour, I am moving here and there, back and forward. And my missus wants you before time." Because as she was expecting the first child, so before time means before the delivery time period. As you know that the doctors give the delivery time period, that at this particular time the baby will come out, will born actually. So Mrs. required the medical aid, the doctor help before her time period. Andrew abruptly recalled from the contemplation of his own affairs, told Morgan to wait, and Andrew was in his own thoughts only of his bad evening with Christine. But he abruptly came out from that situation. He came out from those thoughts and he said, "Morgan, to wait, I'm coming." He went inside. So he went to his house inside first for his bag so that he could carry his doctor bag. Then together they set out for number 12 Blenheim Terrace. And when he came out with his bag, they started their journey to number 12 Blenheim Terrace where Morgan family lives. So Morgan took him there. The night air was cool and deep with quite mystery. So this is the night description. It was cool and deep. Usually so perceptive, Andrew now felt dull and listless. So Andrew was feeling dull and listless because he was not happy from inside. He had no premonition that this night call would prove unusual. Still less that it would influence his whole future in Blenheim. So he was worried about his life because he was not happy with his romantic life and all. So he was worried what would happen next. Might be this is something useful or not. The two men walked in silence and they finally reached to the number 12. Then Joe drew up short. I will not come in. So as soon as they reached, Joe Morgan said he will not come in. He said, and his voice showed signs of strain. But man, I know you will do well for us. So Joe Morgan said, I will not go. I will not come in because he was stressful. He can't see his wife in that stress period. So he said to the doctor, I'm having a full trust on you and I know you will do for us. Now do for us, see, you need to understand, having a baby is obviously something very pretty feeling, a happy feeling. But after the age of 20 years, that feeling is something else actually. So now, inside a narrow stair, on the next page it's written, inside a narrow stair led up to a small bedroom. So this is the description how he reached to that small bedroom. There was a narrow stair, clean but poorly furnished, and lit only by an oil lamp. So there was the oil lamp, poorly furnished, but it was clean. Here Mrs. Morgan's mother, this lady, who was tall and grey-haired woman of nearly 70 years. So she was at the age of 70 years around. And the stout elderly wife waited beside the patient. And elderly midwife means this one. This nurse, as I mentioned, midwife is like the nurse who take care, the caretaker. And she was also the elderly. Right? Yeah. So in this way. And these two ladies, this elderly midwife and Mrs. Morgan's mother, who was around the age of 70, they were around the bed, patient's bed. And patient was Mrs. Suzanne Morgan. Watching Andrew's expression as he moved about the room. So they noticed doctor came, so the expression doctor noticed there. Let me make you a cup of tea, Dr. Baj, said the former quickly after a few moments. So as soon as they entered, it was former. Now you need to mention, as these two ladies were there with the patient, so the former one. Now what is meant by this former or later word? Now former is first and later is last. So here former means, if I would talk about Mrs. Morgan's mother and midwife, former is this lady, Mrs. Morgan, because I have taken her name first. And latter midwife means I have taken her name last. So if I am saying latter lady or the latter person, it means midwife. So the former offered the cup of tea to doctor. So means Mrs. Morgan's mother offered a cup of tea to doctor after few moments. Till now here we are discussing it, we are reading it, and rest we will read it in the next class. So I really hope it's clear to you. If still you are having a doubt, please clear your doubts and send the worksheet timely. So it's about that how Dr. Andrew had his bad evening. He saw that Joe Morgan was waiting at his place, and Joe Morgan explained why he was there. They both came there, and with Suzanne Morgan there were two other ladies and a cup of tea was offered to him. Okay, thank you. God bless you all.